Hey, welcome back to another exciting episode of Spellstorm Miniatures. My name is Jeremiah.
I'm Dan.
And this is Chad.
And we have a great episode to share with you today. This week, Spellstorm Miniatures turns 3.
Woo!
We did it.
It's hard to imagine that we've been going for 3 years.
Feels like it's been so long ago since we actually recorded in person.
Also, that true.
Yes.
Yeah. So we have an exciting episode. We're going to talk about just turning 3 and what that means. We have a big announcement to make at the end of the episode, and we're just gonna have a great time tonight as we record. But hey, let's get started with games played. Have you folks played any games?
Actually, yes. I know, a couple weeks in a row. It's amazing. So, yeah, we were able to get together, get another Rain in Hell game in. Unfortunately, two of the guys, not going to say names around here, but couldn't show up, due to work and whatnot. But that's all right. Me and Mike were able to play. So we got our second game in. We ended up playing Extract Power. He redid his whole group, so I had some souls. I was going to bring in some new demon, but I said, you know what, I'm not going to. Let's just keep it kind of a starter game level. And, we slogged back and forth pretty good. His succubus was excellent, kept like taking my behemoth of a devout and being like, no, you're going to take your 9 dice and attack over there.
Wow.
So that was like, oh man, but it ended up pretty good. We ended up both having 9 souls from the extract, and I had him down to his leader and devout, and then he had me down to my leader and my armored demon. So we kind of ended up being a really big slog fest there. Yeah. So overall, it was a good time of, hour and a half of rolling some dice and just chatting. So
nice. Very nice. Yeah, the Rain in Hell campaign has been a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely. I've gotten to get 2 games as well. I played 2 different one-on-one games with 2 of the other people in my pod. I played 1 game against Hans. It was my second game and his third. We played Extracting Power. Actually, was the same one that we ended up doing. It actually went pretty well. The first couple rounds were a little bit slow as we were trying to kind of get into position. He got a little bit he was a little unlucky with rolling his dice. Actually, the really funny thing that happened is we both kind of misunderstood the rule. We thought that you couldn't extract power from more than 1 piece of terrain per round. So we thought you could do 1 chance from each of them, but it's only 1, period.
Yep.
So he actually, turn 1, moved his devout to his farthest piece and rolled to extract power and did enough damage to kill himself.
Oh, no way.
On the first turn, which was really unfortunate. We were both kind of having a little bit of a laugh about it, but I ended up walking away, I think, with I think it was 9 souls. And the way that we were reading the scenario with the soul extraction is you get whatever it is, the number of souls that you extract, and then you roll a d6 for each of those ones you extracted to potentially turn into bonus souls. So I actually ended up walking away with quite a bit after some of the soul dice that I had also gotten from killing a couple of demons. I was better able to use my succubus to my advantage and peace trade a little bit better with him, also using some of the terrain to my advantage. So I ended up winning that one, walking away with quite a few souls. Unfortunately, I think I finally rolled 1. I did roll something on the reward table. I think I got Essence of Luck I gave it to one of my spine demons.
Nice.
And then I played a game against Tyler. We played Relic Hunters. And this was actually kind of a really interesting one. We both kind of like meandered around for the first 2 rounds, and then round 3 is kind of when everything started getting pretty crazy. There was a lot of combat going back and forth. He had a nice little pod going that was his leader, his devout, and a tentacle beast, tentacle demon, and it just made them really hard to deal with because his leader and his devout are already combat maniacs, and they both have armor of gleaming. So, well, no, his leader doesn't. But his devout and his tentacle demon have armor of gleaming. So the first time that you attack him, he just halves your dice rolls, or halves the number of dice that you roll. But I was again able to use my succubus to a better advantage. I did actually manage to kill a couple of demons before he got any attacks on my succubus. So she had a little bit of damage reduction and managed to survive a couple of hits. I managed to use his devout to hit his tentacle beast and then hit it with something else. I think I hit it with my leader to finish it off because I decided to be a little bit more aggressive with my leader since she has some survivability. I managed to take control of his leader and I think hit and finish off his. No, I didn't finish off his devout, but I did weaken it quite a bit, and then I managed to finish it off with something else. There was a mad rush in the very last round where I managed to kill. He was trying to kill my succubus as she was trying to get away, and he failed to do so. So I killed his mephit that had one of his relics. So I got to take his relic and get a lead on the scenario, and then he managed to kill my slaughter fiend that had taken it and get it back right in like the one of the last activations. So we both ended up with 2 relics. So it was technically we both lose because neither one of us wins. And I rolled, of course, nothing on the relic tables. So I. But Tyler did say that was probably one of the tougher matches that he's played. Gave him a pretty good run for his money, and I was really feeling like the good positioning and stuff with the team that I played. So felt really good about that.
Very cool. Very cool.
I also played a couple games of Riot Quest last Wednesday at the shop. Got to play 3 games. It was a lot of fun. And I got to play a couple games of Commander last night with a buddy and a few other friends. I played 1 game with my dungeon deck, which wasn't didn't turn out very good, but it just needs more testing. And then I played 1 game with Corvald that was a very long slog because Corvald paints a big target on his head, but that deck has enough wherewithal to withstand and play the long game. And I ended up almost winning, killing 2 other players, but I left the last player on 1 life, and they managed to top deck into a draw to get something out of there. No, top deck into a draw and then another draw to get another angel on the field to get a second combat because they were playing Kalia. So they managed to get 2 combats and finish me off. But it was a very close game.
Nice. I love end game top deck stuff.
Yeah.
It's so satisfying. Yeah. And
well, Corvald got to one-shot my buddy Jeremy, who had been playing Gave, and he was up at like 80-something health when I started my turn, and I managed to sacrifice enough stuff to get Corvald up to a 20-20, and then I went to combat, sacked 1 more thing, turned him into a 21-21, and just hit him just one-shot him for commander damage.
Ouch.
Yep. He's a big boy.
Yeah. Ouch. Yeah. Yeah. I think I only got 1 game in since our last recording. I've been pretty busy with work and stuff, and I had to bail on our rain and hail day. And so Dan was poking at me earlier. I didn't get a chance to make that, but I had another 40K game in, and it was good. Still playing the knights while I'm painting up my Eldar. So, but I've been thinking about putting in a small detachment of AdMech, but I just haven't done it yet. And so I don't know when I'm going to be ready to pull that trigger, but yeah, nothing fancy to talk about for me. It just, it's been a season. So, but And speaking of Rain in Hell, that campaign actually ends this week. We are running it through the month of September and October, and October ends this week. And so, and because of Halloween and my wife's birthday, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to get another Rain in Hell game in. So my Rain in Hell campaign, my campaign was short lived, but it was a lot of fun. So for what I experienced.
Yeah.
But anyway, hey, this week is our birthday, and
Woohoo!
I was woohoo! And I was thinking about, I was telling Laura about this, that we've been 3 years ago. This was this was a thing. Dan and I, we had the same day off, and we would get together on our day off, and we would play games. And then we were like, hey, why don't we make a podcast?
Yeah.
And so we decided to make a podcast. But when you think about it, like, at least half of our podcast life has been under pandemic.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And that's crazy. And when I said that out loud, Laura goes, it's remarkable you guys have kept it going.
Yeah.
I mean, really, it kind of has been. But what's fun is when you reach moments like these, is you get to look back and you get to reflect on things that you've enjoyed about the project and working together. And so what I'd like to do is just kind of have a free for all, just kind of organic conversation about some of our favorite moments over the life of the podcast. And then at the end, sort of towards the end of the conversation, I do have a question for us about some of the things we got to experience as a result of the podcast, or maybe some new game or something we picked up because of discussions we've been talking about and exposure we had through this project. So without further ado, let's celebrate. What have you enjoyed about Spellstorm Miniatures these last few years?
Yeah, that's the interesting one, because there's been, like I said, I mean, it's only a few years, but it's a lot of learning in that too. Like I said, we kind of just got together and we were talking after the I-5 tournament for War Machine Hordes, right? And that kind of is a lot of what spurred it off, right? And then just the absolute magnitude of learning how to do the podcast stuff, which Jeremiah kind of took on. You took on like the audio side of stuff. You're like, all right, I'm going to figure out how to work these boards and tweaking mics and,
oh man,
just when you had the hang of it, right? When everything was getting locked in and good equipment, and then it's like, we don't record in person anymore.
Yeah. And we have tried so many different methods of recording those first 6 months. And then I felt when the pandemic hit, we tried another assortment of methods before we finally found one that worked
right.
Consistently for us. There's been a lot of learning this for me the last 2 years.
It's definitely been a ride, and then when I started taking on a lot of the YouTube stuff and just kind of like, that's a lot of learning in itself, and getting the camera set up, and I'm still no expert by no means. Still a lot to learn and do there, but it's cool to learn something new in that aspect too, besides getting to play and do our hobbies and everything, but also take on a new challenge in sense, right?
Yeah.
So that's definitely been a ride and enjoyable. So
yeah. So what are some of the things? What are some of the other highlights that you have?
I really enjoyed the King of Coins event that we did. That was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I think that was probably the first event that we did, getting the community involved with playing games with us and being excited about something that we were doing. And I just remember all the trash talk that was going around, and how many times the coins changed hands as people were, victoriously taking them from other people. I know I still have the Crix coin, I use it as a proxy large base occasionally, and every
Nice.
time I pop open my trays and my little thing of tokens and everything that I have all sorted out, it's up there with the rest of my proxies, and I always look at it and think about that fun event that we did, and
Yeah.
I think maybe it's time we bring that back again.
That would be cool. That was a really neat one. I enjoyed that planning and everything that went into that, and I'm glad people enjoyed it. And we handed out the pint glasses with some symbols and trophies on them, and so
The missed opportunity is we didn't make pint glasses for ourselves.
It's true.
We still could.
Yeah. Yes, it's true.
I have I'm good.
The really unfortunate part is that right now we could be toasting out of them, but
yes,
unfortunately we were too focused on getting something cool out to our fans and forgot to get something cool for ourselves. But
that's how it goes.
Next time.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun, and it made me appreciate, like, that was a relatively small event. I think we had, in the teens, we might have had 16 or 18 people participate, and of course for the final event, to qualify for the final event, you had to be a holder of one of the coins. And so at the time we only did the 8 coins for the 4 original factions for each War Machine and Hordes, and so we basically had an 8-person round, 3-round event, and I, so it's a relatively small event, right? But like, it made me appreciate all of the things that, like, our event organizers do in our community, and then the ones who host the large events. There's a lot of just planning and logistics that go into, this is what we're going to do, and setting the terms and the rules and stuff,
Right. And you had the experience of being the first time judge, right? And having to make a crazy call.
Oh man. And right. And that's a position I didn't think that I would find myself in, having to make a call on was it Barney Two's feet versus Maylock or something
like that.
It was brutal. And I was just like, I don't know what to do. Yeah. I'm going to, but the thing is, it was a great day. It was a fun day. And I think everyone had fun. And so it was cool. And the people who won the event that got the pint glasses, they seemed happy and generally enjoyed the event. So
yeah, it's great. I would have loved to do it the year over year. That was our plan, right? We're going to bring it back the following year, but then again,
that was going to be our thing. That's our contribution to the community. And then,
I think we forgot or got distracted by something else. I don't remember what it was.
Yeah, some global thing.
Time is a weird soup, and
the
pot has been stirred quite thoroughly.
It has. One of the other events that I enjoyed a lot was Food Machine, and that was great. We got a place. I think Ronin Board hosted it.
Yep.
And so we were able to get donations, and you can do wacky things if we made special rules, and and then I think Chad, the folks at Ronin Board made up the signs to look like menus, like if you were to go out to eat. So it was very, very thematic. It was very good. Unfortunately, the day of participation wasn't as good as I wanted. But fortunately, there was a lot of people who had wanted to participate, who couldn't, that made donations. And so I actually ended up filling the back of my car just filled with food, and there were some cash donations that we were able to forward on to one of our community partners. And it was just for me, it was very rewarding because I got to be the delivery boy, and for the folks who came, it was a lot of fun for them to be able to to bend the rules and to use their their canned donations to get benefits and stuff. So I liked Food Machine, and that's something I would have liked to see done every year as well.
Yeah,
it's not too late. It's usually done in November.
Yeah, I'm a little weary about doing events with large amount of people still.
Yeah.
So, and not to say that we'd get a large amount of people, but maybe if we set our eyes for next year, that would I think I would appreciate. I
Yeah.
would like that. So, but yeah, and I think those were, and then the Rain and Hell campaign that we're currently doing.
Yep.
I
It's been a
think
lot of
those
fun.
are the three sort of big things that we've done as a podcast to kind of get behind and support. We've done some things online through our Discord server to sort of foster community and encourage us getting together during the pandemic. Facebook was so kind to remind me that it was a little over a year ago that we started the paint parties,
Yep.
and so paint party has been going for a little over a year every Thursday night, and I think a lot of us have taken advantage of that time for hobbying and socialing. Socialing, I don't know if that's a word, but it is now. and then and then and then in the spring we added the book club, and so I mean we've done a lot of great things to try to use some of the tools that we've had to try to foster community and keep people together during this pandemic, even when we weren't playing games in person.
Yeah.
So um, I think those are things I'm proud of and things I like.
Yeah. I mean, the paint party was has been pretty cool. I mean, I haven't been really able to attend, but sometimes seeing and just hearing all the chatter about it, and like I said, it used to be kind of the Wednesday nights of an in-person at Root and Board, right? A lot of people went to that, and without that, it kind of helped fill that void for some, I think.
Yeah.
And I definitely want to give a shout out to Curtis for running that last Thursday's event. Was really cool of him.
That was huge. Yeah, Curtis got a bunch of the paint night kits that were put out by I think WizKids, and he was able to swing a deal. And so between him and me, we made sure that everyone who wanted a kit got a kit to participate. And then the guy drove down to Salem and even delivered them to people, made sure that people had them, right? And then that night we had more people participate, and we had like first time painters participate, and it was awesome. And I think it was the first model that I painted in one sitting in a long time. A lot of times I'm painting a model in several sittings, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it looks pretty good. I see it right back there too.
Yeah, I'm pretty proud of it. So of course the lighting isn't good, but
right.
but anyway, and yeah, so and I'll be using that in an upcoming D&D campaign or Frostgrave or something. It's going to be a wandering monster, but yeah, shout out to Curtis, big shout out. So a few highlights. I have quite a few highlights that I want to talk about regarding like some of the things that we've done. We started out primarily as a War Machine and Hordes podcast, and we made the decision to do the slog of doing faction reviews for every faction.
Oh yeah.
And believe it or not, that was a lot of fun, because it forced me to look at new models that I don't regularly look at. It actually got me into a new faction, because I was looking at it, I was thinking, actually, I kind of like this, and I kind of want to play this, so that was a highlight.
Hold on, was it only one new faction that it got you to get into, or was it more than just one?
Well,
because I feel like it was more than just one.
I did possibly, but I did a complete turnover during the last 6 months for my War Machine and Horde stuff. So we'll leave that. I'll talk about that later. But so the faction reviews were a thing. I loved when we highlighted Women's History Month, and we had some local women gamers on to talk about their experiences at the table and what it's like being a part of the hobby, and being a part of a hobby that is, dominated by men, and so that was I thought that was very enlightening and very eye opening, and we had some really great conversations there. When Privateer Press did their online like lock and load like reveal, like when the pandemic first hit, gosh, time is a flat circle.
Yeah.
There was a lot of hype for that, and there were a lot of cool things that were announced and shared, and we were riding that hype train, and I enjoyed that. We did one thing I love too. All of the interview episodes we've done, we've got to meet a lot of fun creators and painters, but we had Matt Wilson on, and we have Will Hungerford on, and those were highlights for me, as Privateer Press fanboy, and Matt. I think both of them were very gracious because they came on at a time when we didn't have the best recording setup.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and so I'd love to have them back on now that we're doing this new way of recording. But
yeah,
that's for another day.
Yeah,
So.
and Hungerford has also moved on to a different company. He is at Broken Anvil now, actually working on a completely different miniatures game. So
Right.
that may be something that we do in the future when it gets a little bit closer to Rivenstone being released. That'd be really exciting.
Yeah, opportunity. Actually, I was gonna say those were two of the highlights that were pretty cool, is having them on, and just again the fact of like we're like a nothing I would comparison to, right? But then they still take their time to have a good chat and a genuine chat and just kind of spitball and talk, especially Matt Wilson. And then when Hungerford was on, and I was hopeful, but then he left, I was like, no, we're not going to get our Croak Warlock now.
Yeah.
But
it could still be in the pipeline. He could have made it happen and gotten the okay right before he left.
It takes a while to develop.
Yeah, true.
Gotta release it at the right time,
Exactly. So it was cool though. And then they did their when they were doing their dev chats or whatever, right? And then mentioning our podcast on their main thing was like, yeah, we made it.
Yeah. I felt a lot of excitement. Just true fanboy right there.
Some good pride.
Yeah. Well, every time we always sit down and we look back at the history of everything that we've done and gone through, I'm always reminded that I wasn't originally here at the beginning. I was actually an early guest. The first time that I appeared on an episode was episode 8, where you guys wanted to have a discussion about running events and building a community. We had a great discussion. It was a lot of fun. I always love sharing the history because I've been a part of the War Machine community here for such a long time. And you guys were gracious enough a couple episodes later to invite me to be back and be a permanent host. And it's been a lot of fun. There's a lot more games and things that I've explored and talked about and looked into. It's definitely broadened the horizons that I've had for miniatures games, and I appreciate you guys having me here to be a part of everything. It's been a lot of fun.
I blame me for all of that, by the way.
You are somewhat of a primary catalyst in this.
I don't know. I think I have to do a full confession. Like, I think I'm like the hype man for so many things, and it's just compulsory. Just everyone has to get on board. And well, I don't know. I have fun experiences, and I try to look for the positive and the good in those experiences, and then and that's all I focus on. And I might not be a very good critical thinker, or maybe I am, and I ignore that part. But no. Yeah, I was looking back at our catalog and of episodes, and we've had a lot of episodes focused on the hobby side of things, and that's something that I have learned a lot getting into miniatures and miniature wargaming, is just all of the different tools that are out there that you can use, different strategies, and I have tried a lot of them, and packaging. Like we had one talking about how to take your models to the game store, just traveling with your models, right? Like right now, like my AdMeg models are sitting in egg cartons right now, like
Yeah.
because I don't know exactly how I want to transport them, and so I'm going to be transporting them in egg cartons for the time being.
Oh boy.
But
One of our regulars at the store recently had gotten I think a bunch of Astra Militarum stuff that he had gotten from somebody on eBay, and he showed me pictures of the disaster that they arrived in.
oh,
Unfortunately, the box and it made me think of, boy, I should have you load up the link for our episode where we talked about packing and shipping models,
Yeah.
and
right,
just spam send it to this person. It was absolutely awful. There
yeah,
was a plastic bag and nothing else inside the box.
Jeez.
And
no,
like one piece of tape over
mm,
like the top and the bottom. And so there was a bunch of poor Astra Militarum dudes who lost arms that made their way outside of the box in
oh,
shipping, and oh my gosh, it was awful. I
yeah,
felt I felt real bad. Um, but like that's an episode that we did that was a very interesting episode about like how do you properly
yeah,
pack and ship stuff, even not if you're shipping something, but like transporting your models just to the game store, like, and making
yeah,
sure your stuff doesn't get broken while you're driving down to the game store, and
Yeah.
I think those ones that were like kind of those off-topic things that we don't necessarily always think about as gamers, and I don't really think very many other podcasts did stuff like that. And uh, I think it's really cool that we've tried to reach out into some of those branches that other people haven't done and talk about the stuff that you don't really think about.
Yeah.
Those
I
have
totally
those have
agree.
always been fun episodes.
Yeah. I like that one. I remember that was inspired off of I had just done my first Bartertown trade, and I had shipped, and I thought I did it good because I've shipped things before. Um, but I hadn't shipped models before, and the guy was really cool about it. They weren't as bad as those guys. I mean, I had bubble wrap, I had things, but still, you get some big Signar jacks or something like that, and they bang together a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Spears hanging out. Um, so it's like one of those. Yeah, hopefully more people would listen to those, but take some lessons, help the community out on a greater whole, rather than some double-sided sticky tape and put them on the box and send them off their way.
Yeah.
oof,
Yeah, it was, oh boy.
yeah,
But
yeah,
no, that's one thing I agree is it's been fun doing some of those more um, off top, not so competitive based, right? Just having more of our angle of fun and enjoy and just try, like just get inspired to go out and try this, right?
yeah.
So
Hey, speaking of getting inspired and going out and trying this, here's the question I have for you guys. What new game have you played as a result of the podcast and this project? Like,
we have enough time. No. Oh, I mean, it's a little double-edged sword, because we would still hang out outside of this podcast, and so we'd probably still play a few of these. But I think I would definitely have a few less Kickstarters, um, and probably wouldn't have played Rain in Hell. I mean, maybe we would have got to it, but a lot of big from this. Some Malifaux, since we had been talking about that, that's one of the ones, and may not have gotten around to getting the other side army and doing a big speed paint on that, right?
Yeah.
Which feels really cool to have that whole army done. I guess I look back, that's kind of one of my things. Doing a video about that was a good pressure. I wouldn't have had that same pressure maybe to get through that. So that's pretty cool. Definitely, Infinity might be in there as one, just playing from some people around. So, I mean, I think there's quite a few of them in there that are just some fun little games that we've talked about, or one of you guys talk about and start getting into, and actually, finding a good reason to do it, right?
Yeah.
Beyond, hey, I just want to roll some dice, So.
Yeah, I don't remember if I had heard of Rain in Hell because we were talking about it, or if I caught it from somebody else, but it's definitely one game that I probably wouldn't have really gotten into if it weren't for us being interested in it, diving into it, and then doing a little league about it. I had pulled the trigger a while ago, doing a trade, getting a bunch of God tier stuff. I'm still looking forward to trying that out. Haven't gotten the chance to just yet. But other than that, there hasn't been not too much other stuff. I guess Age of Sigmar, that I was already kind of like looking into that.
Oh yeah, I got some night hunts for that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you have to remember back when we first started the project, I had War Machine and Hordes, and I had an Age of Sigmar army, and I had a 40k army, and then we had been playing some Frostgrave. And so at the beginning of the project, I really only had kind of 4 games. Really wasn't doing 40k at the time because it was just hard to get into, or there was various reasons. I didn't like my army, and so I didn't know that I didn't like my army,
Yeah.
And then and then of course, so then we started doing this podcast, and then we start talking about miniature games, and so I start going out and intentionally trying new games just to get exposure to them and learn about them, and from like historicals, from DBA to Saga to Flames of War, and and then like all of the skirmish level games, Infinity and Malifaux, and weird rank and flank games. Like I started a T9A army because of one of our listeners, and and then I started Song of Ice and Fire, I think because of you, Chad, and and then and then you're right, Dan, because I would start looking at Kickstarters intentionally, looking like I used to only do Kickstarter for like RPGs. That was it, because I enjoy RPGs, and then when I started this project, I stopped supporting RPGs and just started supporting miniature things. Now I have like weird miniature lines in weird scales. Like I have a whole set of cannibals. Like I don't know what I'm going to do with cannibals, but I've got cannibals now, and it's all because I, just the exposure to the miniature world, and with that exposure deepening and widening, over the years. Now we're like, full circle. They're not really full circle, but here we are 3 years later, celebrating our birthday, and I've had exposure to all these different games, and I'm finding my desire for them, different ones are like narrowing again, and I just want to focus on a handful of games and enjoy them deeply, and so that's kind of where I'm at in my gaming. But yeah, like Rain in Hell, like I don't remember if that was one of our listeners or if I had found it too, kind of on the same day or same time frame. But I enjoy just reading rules, and so I knew regardless I was going to get Rain in Hell just to read. I did not know that I would actually get to play it, and so because we decided as a podcast that we would try to set up a campaign to make that happen, and that was awesome, because playing the game brought the rules to life, because there were some things that I had read that didn't either click or I didn't understand actually how it worked until I saw it actually work on the table,
Yeah.
and that's what makes the theory and the practice come together. It's fun. So, yeah. Is there one more question, I guess, maybe before we leave our birthday celebration topic? Is there a missed opportunity? Is there something that maybe you would have enjoyed that we had done and not done, or maybe something that we had done but only in small amounts that you would have liked to see more of?
That's an interesting one.
Yeah.
Well, and to touch real quick, like you're saying, we brought it out, and then like you kind of close back in on a few things. But I wonder if some of that's just because it's harder to get out right now or to meet up. So you have a limited game window. So if you can play one game, which is it? So we'll see a year from now how you feel. But it's kind of
that's true. That's true.
I mean, I guess some of the missed opportunity was again just doing like King of Coins again, or doing more, being able to do more events and kind of sponsor more things.
Yeah,
I know we had tried to gain some traction on some other things, like a Masters League tournament, I think is what it was, or whatever. A little more narrowed because no one else was doing it, but we just, the interest couldn't quite get there, and some of those things. So I wouldn't call it regret, because we did some good stuff and we had some fun with it, and we did, we talked about. But I think it was definitely would have been nice to be able to get a few more of those going.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's a good observation. I remember that. Yeah, we were trying to do a Masters League thing, and it didn't pan out for some reason.
Yeah, well, you had to have minimum of like 25 people pre-signed up for an event to get approved, and
Oh yeah.
Plus, we had to get a location for it, and so there's a lot of logistic kind of learning going into it. Going, oh, wait a second, this isn't as easy as saying, "Hey, running an event."
Yeah, that was a little out of our league.
Yeah.
I'm a little sad at the missed opportunity of not betting you guys money on who could finish a painting project in a year. That's a little sour. But no, I think it would have been fun to try and do some sort of maybe do a little bit more hobby inclusion with the community, to try and push all of us to get some more of our backlogs finished and stuff. I know we did Backlogist, and I unfortunately had kind of missed the starter for that, and I had some other stuff going on. It didn't quite get as much done as I wanted to, but I know one of our other listeners, Richard, I think, was the one who ended up winning that whole thing, and getting a gift card, I think.
Yeah.
That he turned around and used to get into Flesh and Blood as well.
Yeah.
Nice. No, we had several people participate in Backlogist, and then what it was your participation put you into a drawing, and so he was one of the winners.
Okay, that's what it was.
Yeah, we gave out
that he was
three gift cards.
Yeah. So. I know that he was hammering away at getting his Sylvaneth painted that month, because I think that was also around the time that our little group was starting to do an AOS Path to Glory campaign.
Yeah.
Doing that, and
Nice. Yeah. I think I would have liked to do, I would have liked to seen King of Coins come around again. I would have liked to see Food Machine come around again. I would have liked to have a better handle on the War Machine community a little bit. Like, for example, tomorrow they're going to be dropping the update in War Room, and over the past couple weeks they have been releasing spoilers on War Machine specific podcasts, and even though we're not a War Machine specific podcast necessarily anymore, I still kind of felt left out that we didn't we didn't get a chance to do that, and that's just because we weren't, we're not, well, I guess I'll just say it, we're not a War Machine specific podcast anymore, so I feel like things like that is a missed opportunity. I think one of the things too is I think there are some parts of our hobby that that are just really fun to think about, and 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 we could have dove a little bit deeper into them, I think. And that's okay. We have some really bright, brilliant thinking people that are part of our listening audience, and they post some pretty remarkable things in the Discord server from time to time that spark some really good conversation. And so, so we get it, but it doesn't always come out in the podcast necessarily.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I think there's a lot of things that we can celebrate, which is what we're doing here. So yeah, no, those are good. Those are good. Well, one of the latest additions is the confession booth, where we talk about things that we have purchased for the hobby. And so this is your opportunity to come clean, gentlemen. What have you picked up lately?
Yeah, so glad whoever suggested this one.
One of our listeners.
I think one of our listeners
want to know what we're buying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, surprise. Mainly, it's been a few Kickstarters. Just backed Organic Towns by Headless Hydra Press. I've backed most of theirs, and the guy Shane who runs it's pretty cool. And there's magnetic tiles was what I first backed on, and so I've had good conversations with him. And then looking at the IK RPG for the Horde side by Privateer.
Nice.
And then I backed some STL files for some printable bases, just to add some more variety. I'm a sucker for bases.
Yeah.
So fairly low this month. Nothing, or a couple weeks. Nothing too crazy.
I haven't gotten too much stuff recently. I have been trying to trim back a little bit again, trying to save up for the stuff that is coming, which is all the Chili Con Carnage stuff, which should be coming up here in the next couple of months. What I did get recently was I did put in my order for my D&D mini with one of the local Etsy guys.
Nice.
He does a 3D printing company. It's Barthel's Marvels. The owner, Lance, comes into the store to play 40K. And he's printed a couple of other miniatures for me that I painted up for Christmas gifts for a couple of my friends last year. And so Jeremiah and I are part of a D&D group, and our DM, Wes, has miniatures for everyone except for my character and one of our other group members. Is it Joe? David?
Probably David.
Gosh. Yeah. Who's playing Dankmar, this artificer dwarf. And he didn't have miniatures for us because our original characters died. And so these are our new characters. So I thought, hey, why don't I just get the STLs from Hero Forge? I've got an Etsy guy who can print them. I'll have him drop them off to me, and then I'll paint them up for our upcoming final session that we're going to have in person, which is going to be the big showdown for the story arc finale. Nice. So I got those. I got that order submitted here the other day. Lance is just going to deliver them to me at the store whenever they get done. So I'm looking forward to painting those up. I also recently picked up Kruger Zero and Barney Zero since they released. The store managed to place an order for that and then some other paints and stuff that we needed from Privateer Press. So we got a bunch of those and got them out to some of the people in the community, which is pretty sweet. I've looking forward to putting those guys on the table more. And yesterday and today, I've been thinking about buying a bunch of Legion stuff that I don't need to buy from our friends at Mind Taker Miniatures. They've got quite a bit of stuff there for pretty good prices. So thinking about it. Haven't pulled the trigger yet. But I'm also waiting to see, looking to get rid of the Dark Angel stuff that I have. I was building a bikes list, but I've kind of come to realize that I don't think 40K is really kind of the game for me, with the way that it flows, and kind of the way that you have to build lists and things. I think it just doesn't quite mesh with the way that I like to play. Um, it's a good game. There's a lot of really interesting stuff. There is a lot more depth to it than I originally thought, but it's just not quite for me. I want something that's just going to be a little different. So
Yeah.
I'm looking to get rid of that stuff. I'm talking to one person right now. If that doesn't work out, I've got something else in mind, and then maybe once I get rid of that, I might pull the trigger on this Legion stuff, and that can be another project to work on. It'll be, I think, the fourth time I've owned Legion in my War Machine career in 12 years.
Nice.
It might be fifth. It might be the fifth. I don't remember. I've lost count.
Nice. Let's see. For me, I placed an order for the Zeros for Ozzy. I think I got the one that played with the trolls and one that played with the pigs.
Barney and Madrak.
Barney Madrak. There it is.
Yeah.
And so, since I was placing an order with Privateer Press through Room and Board, I decided to pick up the 2 tessellators. I didn't have any tessellators, which were one of the newer jacks for convergence. And so I had the other ones, the negators. So now I have 2 of each of the new ones. I did kickstart an RPG. There was a creator out of England, I believe, that had a very interesting fantasy setting, and it wasn't very expensive at all. I'm probably going to pay more in shipping than I am for the game.
Oh boy, yeah.
But I just the video just really intrigued me, and so I was like, yeah, I'll support that. And for the life of me, I can't remember the name of it. And I was just in my email here looking for the confirmation to try to say it out loud to you guys, but I can't find it. So I didn't do the right search feature, I guess. And then, let's see. And then I got, I had ordered the new Crusade booklet thing for 40K. So I've been 40K is the game I've been getting the most games in, and so I've been enjoying it so far, and I specifically want to play Crusade, and so that's why I wanted to play 9th, and so that's where I want to hang out, and I did pick up an old codex for Eldar through Mindtaker, because I want to read some of the Eldar fluff. I really like the old metal models that they have, and so when I was looking at the codex, I had ordered something, and then there was an issue with my inbox, so I thought it didn't work, and then turns out it did work, and so models arrived as well with the book. So now I have some old Eldar models. So, but yeah, it happens. It was a total accident. Yeah, it was a total
that story.
Yeah, I know. Well, it was an issue with me surfing on the website on 2 different tabs.
Oh yeah,
and so that's what happened. So, but yeah, so pretty light. I think too. I've been trying to balance that with some Flesh and Blood purchases for Oz, and we bought a couple singles for him and for myself when Fab Foundry had their anniversary sale, and so it kind of helped flesh out some of the decks that he was working on. So, but yeah, we're coming into the holiday season, so I typically slow down purchasing anyway, just in case by some miracle a family member gets me something as a gift. It never happens, but the option's always there. So, What's on your guys' hobby desk?
Personally, for me, I've started actually. Rain in Hell actually inspired me to finally clip some of my Rampart terrain that I had gotten a long time ago as a Kickstarter. That would be good for AOS or for 40K or for a lot of things. So I've just been spending a lot of time with some side cutters and plastic and clipping away.
Nice, very nice.
I got a little bit more assembled for my Bloodwrack Cauldron recently from the Daughters of Cain starter set that I got a couple of weeks ago. I'm about halfway done with it. I'm trying to decide if what else I'm going to assemble to put on it, um, and what I'm going to leave off for painting purposes. But I've been really unmotivated for any sort of hobbying the last couple of weeks. Just been tired and doing some other things. Usually doing some gaming with some friends in the evening to kind of help keep the socialness up a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, but Yeah, I'm kind of in a funk stride right now where I'm just not really getting very much hobbying done. I did get my Barney Zero and Kruger Zero assembled. So those guys are done and sitting in my bag. I should really get on getting a collection of some stuff together and get it primed before the weather starts getting to the point where I can't prime anything anymore, so that I've got some stuff to work on through the next couple of months. So
Yeah.
just got to get my butt in gear.
Yeah. I've been just working on just random Eldar stuff. My latest thing is I've got a Wraith Knight that is in recovery. There's some broken pieces, some missing pieces, and then it was painted with this horrible metallic color, and you can like see every brushstroke. And so I bought some of that, stripper stuff that we always use, and from the automotive section, and it's been sitting in a bucket for weeks, literally, with like no work. And so then I started taking it out and then brushing it with an old toothbrush, and slowly some of that stuff is coming off, but not entirely. And so I finally was making some progress on one side. So I got one side almost done, and then the back side almost done. And so now it's drying. And so now I'm gonna try to repaint that thing to make it look nice. Yeah, but I have to do some repairs, and then there's some missing weaponry, and I'm gonna do some green stuff. It's this one is a true nice recovery model. So, but when I'm done, I'll have a Wraith Knight. So
yeah,
cool.
Which apparently is cool if you're an Eldar player, and one day I will be. So one day I will put a
now you're a collector. Right now you're an Eldar collector.
Eldar collector. That's right. Ooh, I forgot to admit, I got the second edition Codex. I won an eBay very inexpensively, and it arrived, and it's in really good condition. And so the second edition Codex is the first time that they had one designated for Eldar. So
that's
I'm
cool.
pretty excited to read it. And obviously the rules don't apply, but I'm definitely excited for the lore. So yeah, that arrived I think yesterday. So, but yeah. So I think I love this part. I love it when we talk about the games that we play, and I love when we talk about the hobby desk and some of the things that we purchased. Because everyone wants to share and everyone wants to hear what everyone's doing, because it just kind of that inspires us, which is actually the whole goal of Spellstorm Miniatures, is to inspire us to play more. That's our mission statement. And but we have an announcement that we would like to share with our listeners, and there's no real easy way to say it, but other than there's a sense that maybe this iteration of the project has run its course, and so this will probably be the last Spellstorm Miniatures episode for a season. And so what we're going to do is revamp and come back with a different format, similar format, same format, who knows. We're all kind of, everything's up in the air at the moment. But we have a couple things that we would like to just to say to our listeners and to say to one another. And I think Dan has a new project that he would like to share about. And so the thing that I want to say to you guys is how much I've enjoyed doing this. Dan, I miss you living close to me, and I miss us having the same day off. Because I miss gaming and talking about games together, which was the whole start of the project, right? You know what I mean? And and Chad, having you on, the three of us bantering back and forth has made has been very special to me, and I've enjoyed doing Spellstorm Miniatures with you two, making us three. There's a mystery third person in the room, and I'm gonna miss it. I think it's the right time for a break, but I'm gonna miss it.
Yeah, I want to thank everybody for taking part of the community. Thank all of our listeners that have followed us since the very beginning, and the people that we've picked up along the way.
Yeah.
It's awesome having the Discord community growing, and the conversations will keep going there. Just because maybe this format is going away and we're going to start doing something different doesn't mean that we're not still going to be in those Discord. So if you guys want to ask us something, or if you want to, dojo some lists or something like that, or tell us about another game that you found that you thought might be cool or that you're interested in, keep the conversation going there. Just because we're not going to be sitting here and me mostly jabbing at you guys and talking about different stuff doesn't mean that everything has to stop. There's still lots of ways that we can keep the community going. But I want to thank everybody for being a part of the community, growing it, following us. I want to thank again both of you guys for inviting me on to be a part of this project. It's been a lot of fun doing all these episodes and everything that we've done and exploring everything together.
Yeah, definitely. Like Chad said, thanks for listening, hanging out there. For everyone who's in the Discord, for all those who give some comments, support, downloads, everything. Some interaction on Facebook we've gotten before, right? So it's just really cool. Chad, thanks for joining in and especially adding your breadth of knowledge and of War Machine Hordes and helping the addiction to all the other games. It's good. Like Jeremiah, like you said, it was cool. We have those. We were gaming or getting together like every week. And it was nice. Life changes, life goes on. We have things come up, things change, so it's kind of bittersweet. Right? It's good, but then it's sad and it's fun. So I'll definitely miss that.
Yeah. I want to do also a shout out to our Patreon supporters and to anyone who's ever used our hyperlink, that or the whatever those called affiliate links that we have to help support the show. That's been invaluable. Like it's something that we didn't want to do in the beginning, and then we sort of added kind of towards the end, and and it was very helpful. And the community isn't going away, and we're still going to be around. And Spellstorm will return. Just who knows what it's going to look like, but we'll get there, and it'll be good. So
are we the phoenix, or is it more like the caterpillar turning into a butterfly? I don't know. One of those things.
I think we're both. We're a phoenix butterfly, phoenix colored butterfly with a phoenix tail.
Yeah,
I don't know. No, butterflies don't like fire, do they?
Yeah.
I think it might be a little bit harmful.
Yeah. But one thing that is happening is Dan, you have a new project, and so make the big announcement.
yeah, through some of this and all the background chat, the kind of the pre-chatter and ramble that we have, you guys, you two talked about Flesh and Blood a lot. Jeremiah, you've been into it for a while, and it kind of like, all right, I slowly dragged into it, and I didn't want to get sucked back in, but I'm kind of getting sucked back into the cardboard hobby of trading card games. So I'm kind of still figuring out a little bit, but launched off a new channel, the TCG DJ. It's kind of a mouthful. I like some of the play on words, trading card game, deck jockey. And so it's kind of just going to be a little project of fun. Not sure where it's going to go right now. Made some gameplay videos. Maybe try to interview, get a hold of some people, the community, opening up, showing off pack opening, stuff like that. So it's kind of going to grow and evolve and see kind of how that lands. But just another thing to keep fun and another way to keep pushing my boundaries of learning how to content create and do some of that. Still have some Spellstorm videos in the hopper there too that I'm working on as well. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of my big thing. So we'll take, since this is taking a little bit of a break or slow down, and be able to jump in and have some fun showing off some cardboard. So
nice. Yeah, and we'll have a link to your channel in the show notes here. So if anybody wants to get some of that sweet Flesh and Blood content, you can follow along. So yeah, this has been a great run. Spellstorm Miniatures, we started out as a show about miniature war games, and just with the whole goal of inspiring people to play more. And who knew how many different things we would try, and how many different games we would play, and all the people that we would meet along the way. So for now, we want to say thank you for listening. Thank you for being part of the community. Check us out at spellstormminiatures.com to get the link to everything. More importantly, to get the link to the Discord server. That's where a lot of the life happens. And we want you to be a part of that. And so we'll just sign off one last time saying thanks.
Boom, boom, boom.